Fine. That's the topic right here live from Inside Out. Welcome, everybody, to another live edition of our roundtable discussion right here in our studios from Inside Out. I'm your host, Jay. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and being a part of this podcast here tonight. I want to give a major shout out to everybody that's in the chat right now. What's up, Trey Stone? I understand that you are with family, and that's completely 100% understandable. So no worries if you can't catch the live. But anyways, tell your family I said hi. And I hope you're doing okay over there in your neck of the woods. Also have my good friend Tammy. How you doing, Tammy? Again, if you are wanting to come up on the live panel tonight and discuss this very interesting topic, you're more than welcome to do so. So again, I'll wait for you to come up if you want to. And that goes for everybody else too that's on the other platforms that can't for some reason get in the comment section, make comments. You know who you are. Anyways, I want you to all know that I do appreciate every single one of you guys being here tonight on this live. So as you guys can see on the title description of this video tonight, guys, we're going to be talking about something that actually don't get talked about much. And if it does, it's hard to find. Nonetheless, we're talking about the school to prison pipeline. And I got some things I want to show you guys here tonight that kind of back up what I'm talking about. And with the help, we're going to have my good friend Tammy to the show. How you doing, Tammy?
I'm good. How are you, Jay?
Well, I'm hanging in there. It's another day fighting the corruption and whatnot within our system. But other than that, I'm doing good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All that fun, right?
So how have you been over there in your neck of the woods?
Hanging in there. He's still in intake. They're still on lockdown. It sucks
Go ahead.
because he's in lockdown, but I'm also glad that it's the annual lockdown. So once it's over,
Yeah,
hopefully wherever he goes doesn't have it again, or if he's going to stay there at that unit, we don't have to go through it for a while.
That's the thing that I don't get or understand is why the process of the intake aspect of it is so dang slow. I don't recall when I got put through that whole entire, system as a whole. I don't recall it being that slow, but there's got to be a rhyme or reason behind it.
It's because it's like one of the bigger units in Texas. They have like 3,500, over 3,500 inmates at that one unit. And then it houses everything, like the levels in Texas are G1, G2, G3, G4, G5. The higher the level, the higher security. So it is a max unit.
Sure.
And but everybody, the majority of people there are like G3s, so they're right in the middle.
Right.
Until they figure out how they are and this and that. And a lot of people stay there for like 2 years, but it's also not only do they do intake, it's also one of the units that you go to for your classes to get out. They have a lot of classes there, and it's one of the very few fully staffed med units. So it's just like there's a lot that goes on in there. I just think it's stupid. You have this whole big old state, and you got to send your intakes to there's I don't know how many, I think 4 to 5 facilities that do intake. But like, why are you going to make that an exit place too? Or why are you going to have all these other, make it one or the other? You see what I'm saying? Like, put certain ones for certain things.
Well, yeah, and no, I totally agree with you there. But on that same token, what people probably don't understand is that either they're understaffed or don't have enough staff to move things along quicker, or they just, they like to milk the system. If you've ever heard that term before, and they just don't care, and everything's all about the good almighty dollar nowadays, obviously. So they're doing this stuff deliberately to just.
Well, and I think they try and see if they can break them. Kind of, it reminds me of the military a lot because, like he said,
there you go.
They wake them up at 2 o'clock in the morning to go shower. At 2 o'clock in the friggin' morning.
Yeah.
They eat breakfast between 2:30 and 3. Then they eat lunch probably about 10:30-ish. Mm-hmm. I'm just going off of what it kind of seems like to me. Then they eat dinner at like 3 or something. They don't get anything else to eat till the next morning, almost 12 hours.
Wow.
And they're only letting them, like, it takes them, they have 15 minutes to eat. That's like in line, sitting down, and then getting up and getting out of there. So they only get like five minutes to eat.
Right. And have you noticed
military mentality for boot camp?
Yeah, absolutely. Have you noticed the timeline though? You got to hurry up and chow that stuff down, but they can't hurry up on their end to get you out of intake.
I mean, there's such a thing as just being civil, but see, and then they do sociology 1 and 2. Have you heard of that? You know what I'm talking about or no?
It sounds familiar.
Okay, so like when they sit you down and they pick your brain, the psychologist or sociologist sits there and interviews you. That's what that is. But part of that experiment is probably watching between the time they do sociology 1, which is their initial intake, right?
Hey, John.
And the time that they actually get you again, they're watching what you're writing in your stuff home. They're watching your behavior about being locked up. They're watching you on they're trying to see what triggers they can push when they bring you back into sociology too.
Yeah.
Because that's where your classification, part of that is not only your record, but it's how you behave from the time you got there to the time they complete that second sociology too.
Correct.
They want to see who they can break and what triggers are for what person, so they can decide whether they're going to keep you at that. Say you go in as a G3, which is majority of the population of prison, right?
Yep.
They're going to decide whether they're going to keep you at that level or they're going to reclassify you higher or lower. Based on your behavior.
Yeah, and that's the prison out there in Texas, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, every prison's different, guys. So just keep that in mind. You're probably
this is Texas.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that everybody understands that not every prison's like that. So, but each and every prison is different,
state
guys.
Laws. And I said it's different state laws, and I think that's part of our problem too. As we're traveling down this road together, all of us, I think we need to keep in mind when we're watching this and learning. And as I'm learning and evolving, I'm writing down notes and things because I think that we need to make, I do believe in states monitoring themselves to a degree, but I think there needs to be a certain set of laws, humanitarian laws that have to be abided by across the board, period.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I totally agree. And thank you, Tammy, for that information. I'm sorry for your husband's. I'm sorry for your husband's situation in that slow intake scenario, but my prayers and whatnot are going out to him and you to get that moving faster. So, bless you guys for that. But
he said to tell everybody hi too, and he appreciates all the support y'all have given him.
Awesome. Well, tell him I said hi to over here from us, from Inside Out, and everybody else in this movement. So yeah, he's not alone. We've been there. But with that being said, Tammy, are you aware about tonight's topic? Because I want to show you something on the screen that's probably going to make you go, or at least say, imagine that. And this topic that we're talking about is called the school to prison pipeline. Have you ever heard that before, Tammy?
Yes, I actually had, but I never took it to the heart that I have here recently with everything going on.
Right. Well, believe it or not, it's a real thing. And I'm going to show you something that looks very familiar. Tell me if you can see this on the screen. Come on up here. Come on. There it is. Can you see that?
Yes, I can.
Yeah. Does that look familiar to you by any chance?
Oh, yes. Oh,
Uh,
yes.
yeah. For you people out there that are just tuning in and don't know what you're looking at on the screen, what you're seeing is actually what they call a resource officer inside one of our schools here in the States. And just keep that image right there in mind as we go along here. Now, if you're asking questions, some of you already know the answer to this question. But again, if you guys are asking questions like, why do we have to have an officer, or better known as a resource officer, in our schools? Well, number one, because obviously our schools have been and still are, in a certain extent, suffering from mass school shootings. And they've had to amp up their security and whatnot in our public schools. So that just goes to tell you or show you right there that you can't even go to school anymore without fearing of your life, and there's no safe anything in life itself as a whole. So that's a
But
very
instead of amping up the protection on the outside,
mhm.
they're amping up the protection on the inside, and that's not working. Kind of like our prison systems. Here we
Mhm.
go again. We're working
It,
the problem backwards again.
yeah,
It
yeah,
just,
absolutely,
I worked in schools. I'm telling you, you know, the shooting here in Texas,
yeah.
um, down there in Uvalde. That's actually a place that one of my friends is an administrator over there. And let me tell you something. The door that he got into the school in
Hmm.
was not locked. It was actually unlocked because a teacher had went out, and she didn't know that she didn't lock the door behind her when she came back in.
Wow.
That's how he got in.
Yeah, but still,
You
we
see
can't
what
even
I'm
send.
saying? Like,
No, I get it. I totally
and
100%
where
get
was
it.
the
But we
resource
can't even
officer?
send. Right. We can't even send our kids to school without
No.
having the fear if they're going to come home the same
Right.
night. It's very sad, and there's no education anymore. So I'm not only fed up with how the schools are ran, but I'm also fed up with the educational aspect of it too. We're going to be digging into that tonight too. But before I show you guys more information and data on your screen, look at what my friend John Doe said here just a few minutes ago. It used to be that the majority of corrections knew what the law was. Yeah, absolutely. But we've got a lot more ignorant people running our system nowadays. Nowadays, corrections confuses qualified immunity doctrine with willful ignorance of the law. Absolutely. And I've done a show on the topic qualified immunity. And believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, I think with all due respect, I think qualified immunity as a whole needs to go bye-bye. And that's just
I
my
agree.
perfect yeah,
I
that's
agree.
just my opinion because again, these officers when not just correctional officers, I'm saying everything that wears the badge. All right. Nothing gets held accountable to these guys. The taxpayers are stuck paying for their mistakes, and it's not right. Why should the taxpayers be stuck paying for these officers' mistakes on clear across the board from any officer? You know what I mean? So we got to get rid of qualified immunity so we can affect their pockets, not the taxpayer. Tammy, go ahead.
Yeah, and so when you think about that qualified immunity and stuff like that, like what
Mhm.
applied whenever that was, sorry, John, I don't know when it was actually put into law, but when that was put into law, it might have worked for a certain set of rules back then. But
Mhm.
what worked then doesn't work now.
No.
Obviously, the track that we're on with our kids and everything, and this has always bothered me, when they
Mhm.
started this zero tolerance BS,
Mhm.
I get the zero tolerance, but somewhere common sense has to kick in for both the staff. We're the adults.
We don't have common sense anymore. Common sense,
and so it's
yeah.
just like, let's ruin this kid who's 11 years old, or this kid that's a kindergartner that kissed another little kindergartner on the cheek because
I know.
we tell them to kiss grandma on the cheek and that's okay, and they don't know
and I believe
better.
And I believe he's on. Yep, and I believe he's on the registry now for that.
Yeah, and so so think about that. Your whole life is ruined because you were being a kid and it was innocent. You know, kids do not learn those. They're not born with hatred. They're not born with meaning to commit offenses and things like that. Yeah, redeeming, you're right. Like special ed, that's true. It's ruined.
Yeah.
They qualified what the classroom that I worked at. I worked in a suburb of Houston. Blue collar workers, kids. These are people that worked in the oil plants, in the refineries. It was their kids. Normal, everyday, hardworking, whatever the normal is, whatever. Anyway, just your typical family. So those kids, like most of them, we could call the parent up and say such and such happened today, and it was handled. But there were a few that would move in from a different district or whatever. We'd have an issue. I had one kid that was being bullied because his mother, specifically, he was coming to school filthy, not taking a bath for 4 days at a time, wore a t-shirt that was an adult-sized t-shirt. He was a bigger, chunkier kid, and he wore the same shirt for 4 days, and the kids picked on him, and he flew into a rage. He got tired of being picked on every day mercilessly, and he struck out and lashed out. But where were the kids that were picking on him? In the normal classroom. Where was he?
Correct.
In special ed with us, with one-on-one teaching. And he was being punished for defending himself.
Yeah, imagine that. Yeah, that's a imagine that's. Yeah.
There you go. But you know, that's a problem. Where is the common sense in it that yes, he needed to learn he couldn't beat the snot out of kids for picking at him. That's not the way you handle it. But then at the same time, we're going to teach the other kids that it's okay to bully people. How many bullying incidences across this country have we had where the victim unalives himself because the district did not act and do anything? But then if somebody does something that's very minor infraction, and all of a sudden they're being hauled out in handcuffs. 2 kids are in the gym and they're playing basketball. It goes beyond basketball where they get rough and they get into a scuffle. We ruin their lives. We hit them with assault. They both get hit with assault. They both get dragged out for zero tolerance policy. And then what? Now they have a record at
Imagine
10,
that.
12, 14. Yeah. So that's my piece.
No, spot on. Thank you, Tammy, for that.
Listening to John Doe said the purpose of qualified immunity is to prevent the government from walking on constitutional eggshells. Harlow versus Fitzgerald. It was not to allow the government to be willfully ignorant. Imagine that, John.
Yeah, that's another imagine. Yeah, that's another imagine that moment right there. I got to put it back up there just to be a smart butt, but that's imagine that there, John. Oh, I love you guys, man. You guys are awesome. But yeah, you're spot on, John. Thanks for that information. Of course, you know, I got some more things I want to show you, Tammy, and everybody on the chat. Tell me if this looks familiar too. I want to show you this while we're doing this topic tonight. Look at this.
Yeah.
Does that look familiar to you?
Very.
Yeah, there's the word prison on your screen. Look, it's got it's almost the same dang settings as your school hallway. Imagine that. And then I got to show you guys one more thing too here. What did I do with it? I got to think if this is it. I hope this is it. Yeah, this is it too. School, look at this. Authorizing structure, see? Dress code, emphasis on silence and order, negative reinforcement, walk-in lines, yep. Lose of individual autonomy, I think I said that right. Abridged freedoms, no input in decision making, imagine that. Set times enforced for walking, eating, etc. Same thing in prison.
Yeah, and they have to scuff it down at school too, because by the time they get them fed, they have to, this is so frustrating. So when I used to run, I worked at a base daycare when I was like 18 years old, almost 19 years old. And we used to do what we call families. They started instituting family style eating, which was really cool. So we would put the main dishes on a big bowl or tray. We'd put all the sides in big bowls and trays. Hi, Tin Man. And we would put all the big utensils so they could serve themselves. And we sat down like a big family. We started instituting that. But we can't figure out how to institute that in schools so that people can actually socialize. We're getting away from so much socialization, and it's scary. And I think that's why people freak out and stuff now.
Yeah. And it's funny because when you're a young kid, if this makes any sense to you guys, when we're a young kid, we don't think of things like this that I'm showing on your screen tonight. You don't think, oh, school is like prison setting. You don't think about it. But I think our schools are trying to set us up and prepare us for things such as prison and other lifestyles that we should have a choice in what we do in our life, not the schools. And then on top of that, you don't even get to do what, you're supposed to get educated in school. The education's not even that good. You don't learn anything in there. So.
Yeah. And Tim Man said, how about the barracks in the military, the structure? Yeah, that's what I was telling Jay a while ago, Tim Man, is that it reminds me the prison, what Rick's going through right now with intake, and then what I went through as far as teaching and being a paraprofessional in that field for so many years. The structure, the timed activities,
correct.
Just everything, even the teaching. Think about this. I was born in 1971, showing my age, but about I don't know how much of my history lessons and different things that we were taught, what we were taught were lies that we've discovered. Even science, I mean, like all the stuff, I understand some of it they may not have known, but a whole lot of that history they sure did. That has blown my mind. Something as stupid as Columbus.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, think about it. We were lied to. We did not learn our history.
No, they don't. No, there's a lot of stuff being left out deliberately, I think, on purpose.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
John Doe just said this in the chat. The Germans called them concentration camps. Absolutely. The Viet Cong called them government reduction camps. We call it
Viet Cong, yeah, and now we call it Kolinga.
Yeah, imagine that. Thank you, John, man. I appreciate you over there. One more picture before we get into the data tonight. Look at this. This is going to probably make you laugh too, Tammy. Well, not laugh, but like make you go, or imagine that. Here's like this. Look at this, guys. Look at this.
Wait, you're missing one. So the military, when they take you to boot camp, when you go to boot camp, when you go to the med center, it's like an intake center, just like prison.
Right.
And it's a navy blue bus.
Right.
It's literally a bluebird bus.
Correct.
So the white are prison, yellow are schools, and the navy blue bus is your military.
Correct. But you guys can see what I'm saying. School versus prison. Weird, right? Question mark. Can you guys see what I'm saying? This is sad. We go to
Yes, you
school. We
can.
go to school on school buses, and if we're bad, we go to school or prison on a school bus here too. Better known as a
And if
prison.
you're okay, I don't mean to be offensive. Take it for what it is. All my military vets, I love you and respect you very much.
Yes.
But if you're either out of desperation want to get a free college education, or I know a few people that weren't so smart and signed the dotted line, including my husband. And you say, okay, you can have me. I'll give up my life for you.
Yeah.
Or you're like my father, you're very poor and you want to get out of the situation you're in. Imagine that. You sign up for the military and you end up on one of those very special buses too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I like
I'm trying to find something because I want to tell y'all real quick what it's called because I want you to all go look this up.
Okay.
Let me try and find it. I'm trying to find what it was called.
But for tonight, guys, we're going to be getting into some data tonight when it comes to this topic, school to prison pipeline. And I think some of the information and data that I'm going to be showing you guys here tonight will be quite telling and shocking to a lot of you, if not some of you. You have to understand that our schools today are just I'm going to be honest with you guys, and I'm going to be blunt. They suck. All the way around suck. The schools suck. I mean, back in my school days, they were decent, or should I say, quote unquote, better. But today's schools, yeah, absolutely not. I'm just not very happy with the education type material and whatnot that they bring to our schools. But before I show you guys the data tonight, Tammy, did you find that real quick, or do you want to wait?
Yeah, I did. I just want y'all to look it up, and I'm going to spell it, okay? It's called the Nanjing Massacre. Okay. It's NANJING Massacre.
Okay.
And so from in the invasion of China in 1937 to the end of World War II, the Japanese military regime murdered near 3,000 over 10 million, 3 million to over 10 million people. Most probably almost 6 million Chinese, Indonesians, Koreans, Filipinos, Indo-Chinese, among others, including Western prisoners of war.
Wow.
And a lot of people don't know about it, but you have to go read it to know the atrocities and the things they did. It was horrific.
Jeez, almost sounds like right up there with the Holocaust almost.
It's very comparable. Very, very, very comparable. They were testing them and doing all kinds of things too.
Wow. Interesting. Yeah. Okay. One more thing, guys, check this out on your screen. This is some great telling information, and then we're going to do the share screen and show you guys some articles, thanks to the people that put it on, but also Tammy sending that info to me. But look at this, guys. Experts describe the school to prison pipeline as a result of practices that force students out of their classroom and into the justice system, which I said earlier. See, it says it right there. Students in hundreds of school districts nationally are sustainable to zero tolerance policies and denied education for often minor misbehaviors. Isn't that interesting? Thank you, Tammy, for sending me that too, by the way.
Oh, you're welcome.
It just goes to show you that, our schools are screwed up, and that's just how I'm putting it. So I'm going to do the share screen now, guys, real quick, and show you guys what I'm talking about. So bear with me. All right. Tammy, can you guys see this on your screen?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Is this a Newsweek one or US
I believe, this is the U.S. News.
Okay, let me go to that one so I can.
I
follow
appreciate
along
it.
with you.
Now, ladies and
Sorry.
gentlemen, in the title description or the description of my podcast, this link to this information you're seeing on your screen is in there. So if you guys want to look this up or read it in your own leisure time, that you can click on the link in the description of my live right now and go check that out. But it says right here, guys. I mean, it can't get any more plain as day as that right there. Study confirms school to prison pipeline. And it says right below there, right here, guys, new research found that early strict discipline causes an increase in adult crime. Mention that. So they don't even give us the respect and education that we deserve in our schools. They basically don't care. It says it right there. And they're basically setting up our kids for failure. That's exactly what it is. What's your take on this so far, Tammy?
Well, I mean, it's like they're almost being trained to fit an agenda, and that really bothers me because I've talked to a lot of young kids, and when you hear them speak, they're phenomenally smart, but what they've learned is through the internet. It's not necessarily that they've learned it in a classroom anymore. We're taking away that, and we're institutionalizing our children.
Correct.
And that's our new generation coming in, and that's scary. And now that they're giving pushback, you see all the ones that are fighting over the war that's going on over in Israel, and the Palestinians said that they're defending, you know, it's just incredible.
Yeah.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised they're fighting back and they're giving pushback. And it's like the government's going, wait a minute, y'all are our institutionalization isn't working very well. So I'm kind of like watching, kind of in awe of these college kids right now that are giving the pushback.
Sure.
To be honest, I'm really shocked.
Well, if something doesn't change, we're going to continue to see this, and it's just going to get worse and worse and worse before something ever, changes or gets better. But
it kind of
do you have this article
like
in
the
front?
Purge, you know?
Yeah.
Type of.
Do you have this up in front of you? Or do you want me to read it?
I have it in front of me. I mean, it's up to you.
Oh no! I'm just asking if you want to fire off. Go ahead. I appreciate it.
Okay, I can. I'm trying to see
you.
what part you're on. Okay, I see. You're right down there. Children who attend schools with high suspension rates are significantly more likely to be arrested and jailed as adults, especially Black and Hispanic boys, according to a new research that shines a spotlight on the school to prison pipeline. Data have long shown that Black and Hispanic students experience suspension and expulsion at much higher rates than white students, and that as adults, they're also disproportionately represented in the country's county's prison system. And while research shows a correlation between high levels of education and low levels of criminal activity, there exists little evidence on the role that individual schools can play in their students' future.
Right.
Now, I do want to say this on that behalf, just being having been in classrooms and stuff, and I have wonderful friends that are teachers, but teachers have an awful bad habit of bringing their personal opinions and things into it.
It's a problem.
So
hold on a second. I don't know why that's doing that. I can't stop it. God dang it.
Talk can change that.
Uh-oh.
Why is it playing? I don't want it to play. Stop.
No.
Better hygiene for better business performance. Talk. Think ahead.
Hold on. I apologize, guys. I'm trying to be all nice and neat over here, and there's always a failure somewhere. Okay. I paused it. Okay, go ahead. Sorry, Tammy.
Researchers from Boston University, the University of Colorado Boulder, and Harvard University, all very well-known schools, sought to find whether a causal link exists between students who experience strict school discipline and being arrested or incarcerated as an adult, or whether attending a stricter school influences the criminal activity in adulthood. Our
Mm-hmm.
findings show that early censure of school misbehavior causes increases in adult crime.
Imagine
There
that.
is, in fact, a school to prison pipeline. The researchers wrote in an article published Tuesday in Education Next. Any effort to maintain safe and orderly school climates must take into account the clear and negative consequences of exclusionary discipline practices for young adults, and especially young adults of color, which lasts well into adulthood.
Mm-hmm.
And this is another thing to keep in mind too, Jay. We're
Go
saying
ahead.
7 out of every 10 people incarcerated are Hispanic, are black.
Right.
7 out of every 10 are black.
Mm-hmm.
So those kids are already influenced and feel
Correct.
negative about the system.
They're already being conditioned.
Yes.
So
Not to any fault of their parents that are incarcerated either. Because
right.
a lot of times we know that a lot of people a lot more are actually innocent than
Right.
we know. So
Correct.
specifically, students assigned to stricter middle schools are 3.2 percentage points more likely to have been arrested, 2.5 percentage points more likely to have been incarcerated as adults. They
Huh.
were also 1.7 percentage points more likely to drop out of high school and 2.4 percentage points less likely to attend a 4-year college.
Wow. That's actually quite sad. Wow.
Yes.
But
And
anyways,
then,
go ahead.
I mean, I don't know if you want me to go further or not, but I think everybody pretty much gets the gist
Yeah,
that,
I think we're good on this. We're good on this one.
okay, I do want to read a couple of things right here, though, because I think it's significant, and then I'll leave it alone after that.
No, go
Because
ahead.
this was written in 2021, and think we're in 2024, barely just coming in. So the findings come as Education Secretary Miguel Cardona and department officials seek public comments on new regulations related to the school discipline and disproportionate rate at which students of color are
Mm-hmm.
suspended and expelled. Under
Mm-hmm.
former Education Secretary Betsy DeVos, the department rescinded a slate of Obama era civil rights regulations aimed at preventing schools from disproportionately disciplining Black and Hispanic students and students with disabilities. DeVos
Wow.
argued that guidance did a disservice to schools, creating
Hmm.
disruptive classrooms where teachers felt unsafe because they were pressured by school administrators not to report students. Notably,
Wow.
the decision to revoke guidance followed a report of recommendations from the White House School Safety Commission formed in the wake of a 2018 school shooting in Parkland, Florida. Here's the problem, folks. We keep keeping these idiot lawmakers in office that have no brains. Sorry, I don't care. I'm going to say it. They have no
No, I'm
brains,
laughing at. I think
no
that was funny.
common
That was great.
sense. Throw them out on the street, throw them in third ward. Let's see how they fare because they have no clue. They are so clueless to everything normal.
Well, this is what I think. This is what I think should happen, Tammy. And I don't know if you agree with me on this statement or anybody in the chat will agree with me on this, but I think a lot of our major politicians, lawmakers, et cetera, should visit a prison unannounced and just go in there and at least be in there for enough time to see how a lot of the what the do's and don'ts and whatnot happen inside
The
our prisons. I think
conditions.
they need to do that.
They would be horrified at the conditions. They
Yeah, and then
would
they'd
be
be like,
absolutely scared out of their friggin' mind
and then they
just
would be like,
walking
"Oh
through
crap,
there.
I did that. I caused that." Yeah.
It's the same thing
Mhm.
with our kids. So they're saying how they should do this and how they should do that. One thing that struck me with that, and the reason I read that, is the civil rights regulations and preventing schools from not disciplining them. What? Wait. It. Who cares what color anybody is? Why can't they
Right.
just be a human being? That human being A and human being B picked on human being C, and we're not looking at this black this white kid and this white kid picked on this black kid. Or
Correct.
or this black kid and this black kid picked on this white kid.
Mm-hmm.
What the hell's wrong with people? Why can't we just say student A and student B picked on student C? So we're going to take student A and student B and we're going to teach them what personal space is and how to
Mm-hmm.
communicate, because their communication skills are lacking, and the world that they're living in, and what adults taught them that this behavior was okay, or made
Mm-hmm.
themselves entitled to think that they can pick on student C. We need to correct that behavior, and we need to involve the parents in the corrections of that behavior and let them know that they're headed for some serious consequences.
Yep.
Whatever that may be,
And-
that is
right.
constructive criticism, constructive discipline,
Mm-hmm.
not
Correct.
punishment.
Correct. And I think a lot of the reason why our kids are acting the way they act inside of our schools, which again, you guys missed it. I showed this image earlier. We have to have this in our schools now because our kids can't behave normally. So we have to beef up security just in our hallways just to get an education, when we all know you're technically not getting an education. We go to school now, ladies and gentlemen, check this out. We go to school now for a fashion statement, okay? And we go to school to bully and pick on people and cause fights. Everything is about style, certain type of clothing, certain type of brands, hairstyle. Everything.
Well, that's what I never got. We had uniforms for elementary and junior high or middle school.
I know.
And then in high school, they didn't have them where they needed them the most. Where kids, if they wore everything the same, nobody'd pick on anybody else. But this is really weird. This comment, if a 15-year-old commits a crime, then society says the 15-year-old knew what it was doing, but if the 15-year-old lies about their age to hook up with an 18-year-old or 19-year-old, then the 15-year-old is a victim. I could not agree with that statement more than anything, to be honest with you, because I've seen multiple people serve and have to be on the registry because of that very thing. And here's the funny thing to me is, at what point do we just call silliness? I mean, 15 and 18-year-olds go to school together. And I mean, they're right in that age bracket, and that's so scary because, like, where I went to high school, at 15, you were considered an adult, which was New Mexico. We could have our driver's license.
Right.
We were grown up enough to get behind the wheel of a car. At 14, we could drive with an adult with our permit. But at 15, we could drive and get behind a car. But we couldn't make a decision to date an 18-year-old. There's all kinds of people that date it.
Back in the day, do you remember that you can be in the back of a bed of a truck too without no worries about, you can be in the back seat without a seatbelt. Remember before the seatbelts became harsh laws? I mean, it's just absolutely ridiculous what we do nowadays compared to how we used to live back in the day. I mean, look at my good friend Indian Curcell, anyways. If a 15-year-old commits a crime, then society says the 15-year-old knew what it was doing. But if a 15-year-old lies about their age to hook up with an 18-year-old or 19-year-old, then the 15-year-old.
They're a victim. That's the next little that separated it.
Sorry about that. Yeah, it is a victim. Absolutely. Spot on. Thank you.
Talking about crazy, right? I mean, when you think about that concept, so when they're 15 and they're doing the whole they're saying they committed a crime and they did something wrong. But then if they do something and they know what they're doing, they like this 18 or 19-year-old that say they're a sophomore and the other one's a senior.
Well, I think I don't know if you agree with me on this either, Tammy, but I think we should. I'm sorry to cut you off. I apologize. I think we should bring back dress code. I think we should bring back at least, respect when it comes to our own dressing and our bodies and all of that, because I believe that also puts a big crimp in our reason why our schools are crap.
Well, I mean, and I mean, internet, and anybody can pipe in the chat. John, Tin Man. I don't know if Rose is here, and Cindy, or any of those, Cynthia, but like, I mean, I don't know. When is enough? They can get on the internet, for crying out loud, and watch whatever they want. They can lie on there and say that they're 18, 19,
Correct.
20, 30.
So many kids
40,
lie nowadays.
And how do you know? And then the person on the other end, how do you check? How do you know? Hey, produce me your ID. Well, crying out loud, there's people that are pretending to be military service. Have you ever heard of stolen valor? There's people that pretend in other countries to be service members, and they've got IDs.
Yep.
The only reason that I can tell is because I have quite extensive experience with military. So I'll know a fake ID.
You also have to take into account too, Tammy, that people know how to make fake IDs too. That's very easy to do nowadays, thanks to the internet.
No, that's what I'm saying. I've actually, before I got married and I was on a dating site, I had a guy send me a military ID, and it was not real. And the only reason that I knew it wasn't real is because I asked him, I said, hey, what's your MOS? He had no clue what an MOS was, which an MOS is what your job is in the military. You're a cop, or your supply, or your aircraft mechanic, or air generator mechanic, or whatever, a tanker, or whatever. It'll be like a Whiskey Bravo, blah, 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 whatever. He had no clue what any of that was. And so I knew he was lying, but his ID looked so real that I took what he sent me and I turned it in to the government, because there's a place where you can turn in stolen valor stuff, where you can give them all the information on it so they can trace it back.
Correct.
Because they consider that a federal crime. But my point being is, they can lie about who they are, and then the person that's on the other end of the internet thinking this other person's an adult.
Correct.
And then who gets in trouble? Not the one that's being deceitful, but the one that is thinking they're talking to somebody. Yeah.
And I think a lot of you guys out there, have seen the way kids and, the schools and whatnot, way kids dress and whatnot. I'm actually trying to find some images right now on how students dress today, but I can't see what I'm trying to prove a point with. I think some of the clothing that these kids are wearing today are absolutely just totally 100% disrespectful on all parts. I can't even explain it, but this is how I dressed in high school and just school in general. This is me. I mean, this is how I went to school in some circumstances without the coat, of course, but this is how I dressed. That's me. That's 1990s or 1993 right there, high school. But you guys get the point. Today,
This one says, Indian Curry Style said, and I hope I said that right, said, my uncle was 20 and he married my aunt when she was 16 in India in 1967.
Yes, I showed that earlier. Yeah, look at that.
And
yeah, absolutely.
The Catholic schools are the worst.
And he also agrees in the chat too that yes, bring back dress code and uniforms in public schools. I think so, because then you'll start seeing a little bit more respect. Teenagers bring fake IDs to go to nightclubs and buy alcohol. Yeah, because they want to, it's all about the image. It's all about cool. They want to fit in with the rest of the peers, peer pressure, so many other things that are going on in life that make these kids get fake IDs, buy alcohol. It's like everybody wants to, be a follower instead of a leader. And my friend's doing it, so I want to do it. That kind of thing. It's disgusting. Our kids they have no respect for themselves. Indian said this: I live in Canada, where when I was a student in high school, There were students in my high school drinking and smoking. Yeah, with fake IDs and going into nightclubs, posing pics on Facebook in their 2010s. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Indian, for that. Appreciate you over there. John Doe said a 14-year-old I'm sorry. I'm going to try that again. A 14-year-old capable of mens rea for homicide is certainly also culpable for 1343 wire fraud. Oh, wow. Such that injury is caused by the fraud. Yeah. I mean, look at this. You can't make this stuff up, guys. Tin Man said this. My mom was 14 and my dad was 16 when they got married. Wow.
But think about it, back then too, people were more grown up, more mature. Life was harder. Now it's like everything is like at the snap of your fingers, the touch of a button. It's instant gratification world that we live in. It's automated. Everything's automated. Think Wall-E.
Yep.
I mean, we're almost there.
Yeah. And this is, again, guys, this is another great topic. The reason why I'm bringing it up, it's the reason why we have what we call the school to prison pipeline, because we are basically conditioning, our government's conditioning, our systems conditioning our kids to do exactly what they want us to do or them to do. You know, and nothing's going to change until we, the people, stand up and change it. Tammy?
Yeah, we have to teach our young people, our little tiny humans, as I call it, to be compassionate, to have self-worth and respect in a way, and for themselves, not only themselves. If they can learn to respect themselves, they can learn to respect others.
Correct.
We have to show them humanity. We have gotten so far away from humanity, and I know a lot of people go, oh my gosh, y'all are on a podcast for real and you're saying this, but I love technology, but I also hate technology. It
Depends on
has
how you use it.
destroyed
It all depends on
marriages,
how you use it. Yep.
families, and it all started with TV. I mean, that's where it started, where the disconnect started. They stopped sitting at the dinner table and started sitting in front of the TV and TV trays. So the family discussions every night, hey, how was your day, or what went
Nobody ever
on?
does that no more.
We don't do those things. And I was guilty of it sometimes too. I'm not going to say I wasn't.
Right.
But, we've lost our way. We have lost our way.
Back in my childhood day, we ate at the dinner table and we had conversations. Yes. We talked. We didn't have cell phones and computers in our faces all day.
No.
Not like today.
No.
But, we are basically destroying our own selves with this tech. So it is what it is. Well, I mean, wow, time went by fast on another great topic, Tammy. Thank you so much for this idea tonight. I think it turned out really well.
Yeah, I think we need to, if we have a few moments, let me see if I can get to it really quick. The ACLU article. It's very interesting.
I can pull it. I think I have it. I can pull it up if you want me to.
Goodness gracious, tongue-tied. I talk all day. Sorry, guys.
You're good.
I encourage everybody. I would think you should put that link in the chat, Jay, at the top where everybody can go to it. But School to Prison Pipeline. The ACLU works in courts, legislatures, and communities to defend and preserve the individual rights and liberties that the Constitution and the laws of the United States guarantee everyone in this country. But the latest is ACL urges colleges and university leaders to protect free speech and academic freedom. The consequences, these are just some of the articles, the consequences of police in schools, a North Carolina case study. This student fought a school fine for 4 years. What if algorithms worked for accused people instead of against them? I mean,
Yeah.
I just really, police presence in schools, search and seizure in public schools. That's another thing,
That's right.
we're teaching them the same stuff. So I encourage y'all to go and read some of these different, branch out. We have a tendency to get in this tunnel vision, but
Yeah.
this was really important tonight.
No, I
They are our
totally
future. They literally are our future. We have to help these kids not
correct.
become institutionalized. They
Correct.
have a chance to do better, be better, and have better.
Mhm. Yeah, no, and you hit that right on the nail. I mean, we need to stop damaging our kids and look at this from a different angle, because obviously the angle that we're dealing right now is not working. Obviously,
And we got to stop
um,
this division. I hate labels and I hate division.
I just hate
Some of
hate.
my
Period.
best
I
friends
hate.
are from all over the world, and I'm so glad,
Mm,
so very, very, very thankful that my
correct.
father was so hard pressed to make sure
I'm
that
listening.
me,
Go ahead.
myself, and I, my brother, and my sister, that we were
Hmm.
taught
Hmm.
to judge a person on how they treated us, our
Correct.
interactions with that individual, no matter what somebody said about them, no matter what they look like, no matter how much
Hmm.
money they made or didn't make, what money they came from,
Hmm.
whether they were rough around the edges or not. I have met some of the nicest people that were
Correct.
homeless or had nothing.
Correct. No, I hear you.
And I've met some that are the richest, that are some of the worst people I've ever met. Self-entitled. I have people in my life
Yeah.
that are not in my life, but they're related to me, and they're self-entitled and they're bullies.
Right. Right.
So
Yeah. No, I get it. I totally understand where you're coming from. It's a sad situation, guys. The link to that article that Tammy was reading off a few minutes ago is right there in the pin chat. Now you guys can click it. You should be able to click it anyways, and go over there and check it out. Before I go, let me do this real quick. Indian said this: USA is dying country like Canada, UK, Australia, and New Zealand. I actually agree with you. I'm actually embarrassed to be an American in this country right now, the way things are going. I'm not going to get political, but that's just my opinion. I don't like what I see. That's just where I'm sticking with it. I'm not liking what I'm seeing. But before we go, I want to do a share screen and show you guys something that you guys can obtain right now if you're interested. A lot of you are wondering the updates and whatnot going on with my new merch. I'm still in the process of trying to come up with better design T-shirts and all that fun jazz. Me and Tammy are kind of working behind the scenes on that, so just be patient with us. T-shirts seem to be a little bit more harder to make than some other stuff that I can just get up and put up on my store now. But anyways, I do have some new items on my new store. If you guys are wondering what happened to my other stuff, I got rid of it. I just wasn't a big fan. No offense, I wasn't a big fan of Bonfire. So I'm now teaming up with a company called Spring. So you guys can go over there and check it out. I'm going to do a share screen to show you guys what it looks like real quick before we get out of here. So here, oops, my bad. Here is the items that I have up there so far. This is my I like this hat. I like how it turned out. This is the From Inside Out Network hat. You guys can see there. It's definitely have the worn out look to it, which I like. It comes in brown and also comes in gray if that was something that you guys like. And the back of it, if that makes any sense, you want to know what it looks like. It is a Velcro type setting on the back, so it should fit just fine. You just got to set it to your head size, and it should work. But I believe at $32.99, that's not too bad of a deal for a hat like that. And of course, I do have other items, as you guys can see here. I got the Imagine That mug. If you're a big fan of coffee and whatever other kind of favorite drink that you guys have, check it out. There it is, $18.99 for the Imagine That. And I also got stickers, Imagine That stickers, and Imagine That sticker over here, two different kinds. And I also have a beanie from Inside Out, black beanie with my logo there on the front. If you guys are interested, go check it out and let me know. The link to all of this will be, let me get this copied and put in there if you guys are interested. And I will put that in the chat too as well for you guys to go check out and and do that. With that being said, Tammy, do you have anything you want to say before we get out of here?
Yeah, I want to plug a couple things. Please,
Right.
everybody that's on board with this movement, couple things I'd like to say to you. One, if you cannot, we all know things are tight. We do want to see Jay be very successful, especially myself. I'm rooting
Yeah.
for him big time,
Especially with
and our
this.
movement. But
Mhm.
do keep in mind you can discreetly donate if you'd want to.
Yeah.
Jay's gonna be at some point. I'm going to encourage him strongly to put his Cash App up here somewhere, and
Yeah.
we need to do that with that to get the movement going. Please join Carrie. You can get
Mhm.
membership to that. We're working on getting ID cards, membership cards made for Carrie. It is an organization that all of us with our own individual nonprofits are members to, and do have a membership in to protect and advocate for loved ones inside and out, both with reentry and
Correct.
prevention and people that are currently incarcerated.
Correct.
So we love and appreciate all of you, and just please keep those donation type things in mind. There are a lot
Yes.
of expenses with this podcast, but there's also expenses with the paperwork and things that we're doing to form certain alliances right now to get the
Correct.
ball rolling for housing and whatnot for reentry.
Mhm.
So please
Right.
keep that in mind.
Yes. And real quick, before we bounce, I know I'm way past my time now, but
Uh-oh,
I
sorry.
think what I'm going to do just for you, no, you're good. You're good. What I'm going to do just for your guys' information and whatnot, let me go ahead and go to my, I got to find it now, my Cash App, so you guys can see it. That way, if you guys have any issues trying to find it and all that, um, okay, hold on a second, guys. I got to figure something out here. I have to do share screen because it doesn't have a
Tin
place to
Man,
click.
if you're in the chat still, I hope you are somewhere, or anybody that has Tin Man's Carry organization, please put it up in the chat for us.
Yeah, please, Tim, man. Thank you. Because I thought I had it saved somewhere on here, and
We need to
obviously I
do
don't.
amazing for that.
I
But
need to
we will.
get more involved and start getting more organized. But anyways, guys, before I bounce out of here, with all that being said, there is my Cash App. There is my uh, the handle name, I guess you call it. It's called J Prison Reform. If you guys don't have this, you guys can use this right now on your phone and scan this code. It should take you to it right there. And if you guys want to donate, please do, because all proceeds and whatnot go to our movement that we're trying to do over here. So again, there it is, guys. I can't for some reason put it in the chat, but if you have a phone, you can scan it right now up on the screen. There it is. Do what you can, guys. I definitely appreciate it. If you guys are missing this, go back and pause this portion of this video, and you guys can Cash App, or excuse me, take a picture of that, what you see there, and go from there. Thank you, guys.
And then Tin Man's site is www.citizensassociation.org.
Can you put that in the
Please
chat,
go
Tammy?
check it out. It's in there. It's
Oh, there it is.
www.citizensassociation.org.
I pinned it. All right. Oh, and Tim Man said, "Don't move your mouse over it." Okay, let me go back and do that again. Sorry, he made a great point. I didn't even realize I was doing it. Thank you, Tim Man. I'll do it one more time for the remainder of the show.
Yeah, they don't need to see us. They know what we look like. We're good.
Yeah, you guys are something else.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tim Man. I'll put that back up there again. That way I won't put it in front of everybody. Okay, there it is. Take a picture of that, guys. There you go. That's my Cash App. It's bona legit. It's real. There it is. You guys can take a picture of that and go from there and do what you guys can to help out this movement and this cause. So again, there it is, guys. Thank you guys so much. If you do donate. I appreciate you guys. With that being said, Tammy, I don't know if you have anything else you want to say, but I do want to say this on my closing statement. We are planning on starting a how do I put it? Like a place for people to get released out of prison into homes is what I'm trying to find the words.
Maybe we'll go over that next week. I actually have a diagram for that and everything. We can go into it because I would love for us to get some real feedback from you guys. We respect
Yes.
you and love you out in the chat. And maybe
Mhm.
somebody has an idea of something that we didn't cover of all the things and discussions we've had. I do
Mhm.
have graphics for it. So I can send you the graphs again and we can go over them maybe next Wednesday. That'd be a great topic.
Okay.
But guys,
Or even Man's Night.
or okay, we could do it Friday if everybody's cool with that. That'll work. But we all want to get together and build housing.
Mm-hmm.
It sucks that we have to build housing, that we can't just take something that's existing, but there's so many loopholes. But it's basically reentry for volunteers and working with actually the parole boards and the parole divisions.
Yeah.
To give placement to people coming out of prison. So instead of going to a halfway house with a million other people, they're in a smaller home environment. They're like tiny houses almost, where they will receive resources, help, counseling, job placement, education placement. The rehabilitation that they should have gotten in prison, they will be able to come out and have that at their fingertips.
Correct.
And then they will be able to go out and be mentors in the community as part of Carrie. They will be able to take Carrie out into the streets and actually mentor and volunteer out in their local communities. This also helps with people being able to be relocated from the area that they went in and came out, maybe to another state, so they can really get a fresh start, kind of like AA or NA, people, places, and things.
But you want to start yours, right? You want to start yours in Texas, obviously, and then I think my good friend Tin Man wants to start his, if I'm not mistaken, or at least get something going in Kansas. And I definitely want to get one started here in Florida. So if we can broad out and do that, we're definitely going to give people some second chances at life, like more than what people are attempting to do or the government's trying to do. So. Trey Stone said this real quick. Halfway homes are private business, right? Question mark. So he's asking a question.
And a lot of, they do. Some of them are privately run. Some of them are run off a nonprofit. Some of them get grants. Some of them get money or funds through drug programs and stuff like that. We need to, I hear what you're saying about the different things, landlords and stuff. Yes, that own that. A lot of them actually own property in the United States. I've worked with a lot of them when I was a contractor. But I was talking to India. I'm sorry, guys. But, I hate the word halfway because you know what that tells me? You're half in.
It's like you're half.
Half in. It's ironic. Why would you call it a halfway house?
Why can't it be full?
Why
can't it be full?
No, we're not. We're not. No, just no.
I know. I used to live in a halfway house. Man, those things aren't fun.
They're not. It's too many personalities under, and what we're gonna do, like you, myself, and Tin Man, and John Doe, and all of us have been around. We're gonna actually help people help themselves. It's going to be a voluntary thing. It's not going to be mandatory. If they need to go somewhere mandatory, we want to change the minds of parole boards and the mindset of the whole parole, probation, everything. We want to change that mindset to, wow, these people have value and they have worth for our communities. What are we doing here? We have to flip that switch. It's time. Now's the time.
Right.
Not 10 years from now. Now.
Yep. Indian said this. I remember when I rented a room in a house from an India landlord in different town, three away in Canada. All he wanted was the money, which is not surprising, and the rules were simple: no drinking, no parties. Yeah. Well, and that's how we kind of want to do our thing too. We're not going to try to make their lives even more miserable than they are, because most of these people, ladies and gentlemen, are going to be on probation, parole, that type of thing, and they got their own rules and whatnot set right there. So when we build these houses and get these people in these houses, we want to make it as easy as possible, but they're not going to walk all over us either. So we have to have some rules and guidelines to follow so they won't stomp on us. Other than that, this program won't work. So I truly believe that Tammy, Tin Man, everybody involved with this program, I see this thing actually working, and I'm really full 110% supportive in it. Nonetheless, I'm hoping that at least 3 states, Kansas, Texas, and Florida, at least so far, can get off the map and be productive in the housing situation for our locked up loved ones. That's where I'm at with it. But we are out of time, guys. Thank you guys so much for. Yeah, I know. I should figure out if I should go over more time and see if it'll work for everybody, but it is what it is. But nonetheless, I got to bounce out for this one. It's an honor and a privilege to see all you guys in here again. Tammy, thank you so much for your information, insight, and knowledge. I respect you with everybody in the chat too as well. John Doe, Trey Stone, Tin Man, Indian. I hope I didn't miss anybody, but you know who you are. Everybody in the chat, thank you guys so much for being here tonight. I do really appreciate every single one of you. Much love and respect to every one of you out there. Well, anyways, guys, that's going to cut it for this podcast here tonight. I hope to see you on the next one. Man's Night's coming up on this Friday, and I'll see you then. With that said, I'm your host, Jay. I'll talk to you guys later. Have a great night, everybody.